Good morning. So today we're going to go over the IMS 3.8 gallon fuel tank install on the KLX300. I've got it up on a stand here already. And then tools, just kind of generic hand tools from work. Mostly some metric sockets, metric wrenches, Allen keys of both types. This is the most useful Craftsman kit I've ever had. Highly recommend one. You can throw it in your tools, take it with you. Got a 2-gallon tank because I need to empty my fuel tank of gas, which is full right now. Rags for if I spill, some hose for siphoning, and then if everything goes, really poorly, I got the rocky stabs all here, and I can just slip my wrist. So the first step is we're just going to empty the fuel. I'm going to siphon it out. Hex cutters. I'd say I've got about a gallon in here. So we'll probably just pull the tank up and then try and turn it over. So to remove the tank, we're just gonna pull pretty much all the plastics. Side fairing, one is longer, two is shorter. I've seen a lot of videos of people taking these long bolts, putting them into the wrong hole, and using an impact drill, I guess, just drilling them straight through the gas pump or the gas tank. Obviously, you don't want to do that, so make sure you remember where your bolts came from. Okay, so on one side, I pulled the back fairing, the front radiator shroud. You do have to take the bolt off of this side for the seat, but I really just need to pull this front fairing. And then we're just going to be hunting for anything holding this tank in. All right, so that's pretty basic. Take this guy out. There's just one bolt holding the back on. There's 3 bolts here. These ones in the middle are what are actually holding the tank, so I just took that one out on both sides. Lifting this up, you can see the 2 breather hoses connected. I can't really do camera work in this, but I can see the fuel line off of the pump, and I can see the wiring harness. So we're going to figure out how to get those disconnected. I'm going to try, maybe I can do a chest cam here. Okay, I'm going to start by disconnecting the fuel line first here. Probably get a little bit of gas out. I don't know if you can see it, this green clip here should just snap down. Oh, come on. All right, so you can just take your PEX cutters and cut your, there we go. You don't pull this all the way off, but you do pull it down all the way. And this guy just goes in there really deep and it's tight. And they just got these little clamps on here. It looks like you'd probably just use my fingers and pull them down. Just squeeze and pull. Looks like there's a harness over here. I think we're just gonna disconnect this guy. There we go. You push the clip up on this one, not down. We have the wires free. We have a tank free. Just to reiterate, we basically took off the 2 breather hoses. I labeled the front one, took off the fuel line. You just slide the little green connector down. Pretty firmly need to pull that straight off. And then we disconnected the fuel pump wiring harness here. So currently we have a tank with some gas in it. This is our fuel pump, which we need to pull off. I need to figure out how to get the rest of the fuel out of this without making a huge mess. I'm about to just dump it in a bucket. By the way, I don't want to hear about the dangers of gasoline or inhaling gasoline or siphoning gasoline or anything. I don't care. Do whatever you want to get the gas out. Okay, bowl of gas. This is mostly empty. Alright, once you have like a gasoline covered rag, just throw it in your pile of oily rags and leave it out in the sun for a while. So it's about time to look at the new tank. On here, we got 5 bolts, kind of a star pattern. We have the harness pointed down. So let's grab the new tank. But you can see our pattern here matches this, so we're just going to transfer that pump over first. I'm going to temporarily put the cap on here just to kind of minimize how much debris is going in the tank. If you haven't noticed, it's kind of like working in the dirty desert. I just don't have a good spot to work on stuff. Maybe we'll stuff a rag in the hole. So that guy's going to sit. This is like the spacer to mount the back of the tank to the frame. There's no torque specs for any of this, which is concerning because I see people saying like, hey, don't crank down on all these bolts. They talk about maybe these breaking free and spinning and then not being able to lock the tank down, but there's also no torque specs. So to be fair, nothing I took off was torqued down very tight. We're gonna go kind of loose on everything. That's a 4mm Allen key head on those guys. Just going super not tight. I have no idea how this camera works going with the chest mount, so I'm sorry if it's terrible. We got this guy, which is gonna go here. So it's basically, we're putting the grommet in for this. Just trying to make sure I don't cross thread this guy. This first thread looks like shit. 13. All right, it's going in smooth enough. All right, that's pretty snug. Yeah, I'm not gonna go any tighter. Really wish they'd put torque specs on some more things like aftermarket products, but at the same time, I wouldn't be able to get a torque wrench very easily on there anyway. It also wanted me to put this guy in. Just gonna go out on a limb and say it's this guy here. Okay, I'm just gonna snug these up, really just hand tight. So apparently if you have a California model, you're gonna have 3 hoses out of the bottom. I don't have a California model, can't really speak to that. I'm gonna try and determine what the torque is on these right here so I can maybe match it over here. 13, I think it's right around 13, 14. We're gonna go for 12 to 13 foot-pounds. As with everything, we're just gonna do this in a hex pattern. I'm also gonna take these hoses off right now. Might get a little bit of gas. Oh, that sucker's on there. Man, it's always the thing you least expect to be the problem. Whew, you're getting like a little bit of a vacuum in there, holding it together. Kind of looks like there might be a dab of thread lock in there, the red thread lock. I don't have red. Oh yeah, I do have blue. Just remember your orientation here. And this is the O-ring. I'll tell you, this ring doesn't feel quite the right size. Whatever, we'll deal with that in a minute. Getting a little bit of gas out of this pump here. Just gonna clean some of this dirt off of the mating surface. How much gas could there be? I'm trying to wiggle this around to where it feels like the gasket is fitting in the hole. This is a stupid problem. Here's the issue, is that this is bigger than the insert area here. And so as I start to compress it, it starts to squeeze out the side. There we go, like that's how we want it to sit. I don't have a way to hold it like that while I put the pump in. I'd probably recommend cleaning your pump a little better than I have too, because it's getting dirt everywhere. Oh, there we go, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna start 2 of these, but then I'm gonna go get the thread lock. I just want these to hold it in there, because I don't want to do that again. Thread lock's not on the instructions. There's clearly thread lock on the old ones, and it makes sense to me to put some on there. I'd probably do the red if I had it, but I don't. It did help to maybe not have this connected while I was trying to line this up. This will be close enough. I have a 12 millimeter fits on the head of this OEM tool, and then this is 10 millimeter over here. So we're working a star pattern. I'll start on the pain in the ass ones here. I don't even know if I'm going to go to the same spec that they were. This plastic might not receive that torque spec as well. Yeah, I'm not even going to go that tight. There is no torque spec. We're going to go with that. Hand tight. I think I might cut this guy down. If you see, if I push this to where it's all the way buried here, it's on the verge of kinking in these 2 spots. I think if I take a little bit off. There we go, that's a little smoother. It's not so hard of a... That's interesting. This is not tight on this barbed fitting. Like, of course that is, because it's the size it was. I think what we pulled this off of, though, unless the part I just cut off was thicker or something. Okay, well, maybe what I'm doing is I'm taking the end that I cut off here, and let's see if I can use it as a spacer, maybe? It feels better. I guess we'll find out if it leaks. So I cut the end off and then used this as a spacer around here to get a little more grab on it because it was really loose. Like this one's nice and tight. Don't want to dump gas all over a hot engine. Yeah, so we're actually going to pull these. I know earlier I labeled which one was which on these breather hoses, but the tank, the IMS tank, doesn't have a breather hose system out the bottom like that. It's just right out the cap. One thing I want to do here is just put a little bit of gas in here, shake it around, clean it up for 1, and for 2, see if this seal holds. California approved, really pain in the ass to use contraption together on this gas tank. Just put a little bit in and see what's going on. So I don't see any drips. Put the lid on and shake it up a bit. Well, it seems to be airtight, right? I'm putting my finger over it. Shake it up. Let your finger off. Air's building up in there. I don't see any drips out of the barb fitting. The other thing I'm kind of doing is just sloshing out any debris. So I'm gonna dump this gas back out. That's confidence inspiring though, right? It's holding pressure. I don't hear it coming out anywhere else. Just try to get the bulk of the gas out in case there's any debris in there. Anyway, there's something in the instructions about grease here. I'm just gonna see what happens. I think we want to clip on the fuel line while I have some play. I can't really show you this part. We're just clipping this line back on here. Yeah, so the little green clip should have to go around the outside of the barb fitting and then... There we go. Okay, well you cannot clip it until it's all the way on and then it's just tight. Now we kind of want to look at the routing of everything as we set this down in here. But we want to pull the wiring. There's a little slot right here. And I'm just trying to make sure that everything gets routed right through there. It appears that my grommet has fallen out. It went on the ground. Okay. So we can kind of see things are starting to line up. So we got the grommet here. I'm a little confused here if I'm supposed to take these tabs off so I can put a screw all the way into the tank. These guys lined up over here. The bolt holes. Everything else should be good. I'm kind of just looking at the routing, make sure I'm not rubbing against, pinching any wires or hoses or rubbing against anything. Yeah, they have these screw holes on both sides, but then there's these tabs to stop you from putting a screw in there. I think for now, I'm gonna ignore that. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about it. It may be separate mounting points for the KLX250 model. Same tank, I guess, goes on it. 4mm here. 10mm. See if we can't get these back in. When I took these out, they were very loose. And that's probably how I'm gonna put them back in. There we go, getting them lined up is not too bad. God, that thing looks huge on there. I see, it looks like this little gasket here kind of compresses down. Yeah, just that right there stopped it from moving. Naturally, we're almost done and all my cameras are dying, so about to start the bike. That was an unusual sound from the fuel pump, maybe because it was empty? Ah, well maybe I should hook it up, huh? I forgot to wire the fuel pump back into the harness here. Let's see what it sounds like now. I just want to listen to it prime one more time, see if we can get more of a natural sound. It just sounds weird. It sounds normal at the end. Put the seat back on. I guess we'll see how well everything lines up here. All right, the stock seat clips in here. Used to clip in there on the stock tank, so let's see. Of course, my bags. I feel like it's not quite as smooth as stock. I think this angle here is a little more aggressive than on the stock tank. But the bolts are lined up now. So my Insta360 died. I'm just gonna throw the plastics back on. I'm not gonna bother recording that. And then I'm just gonna yank the breather hoses out. There's just a bracket here and a bracket a little lower here that they're routed through. So we're just gonna take those out like that. Look at that, even got it on video for you. You're welcome. All right, she's back together here. I can't express how much I hate these bags. Need bags. I think I'm gonna get a rear rack, help with bags later. Anyway, I haven't seen any fuel dripping. There's fuel in there. Fairings all lined up well. Again, I could totally see. Okay, don't use an impact to put bolts in your bike. If you are still gonna use an impact to put, like an impact driver screw gun, put bolts in your bike, even though you shouldn't, absolutely make sure that the right bolt is going back in. I said this earlier, but if you took this bolt and you just right here, you'd have a hole in your gas tank. Just don't do it. If you are gonna do it, be quadruple sure that you're not stripping it out and not driving it into your tank. I've seen like 10 posts on Reddit of people, what do I do now? There's gas coming out of this bolt hole. It's like, yep, buy a new tank now. We're back together. I mean, I want to go for a little ride, fill it all the way with fuel. I probably just have enough gas to like get to a gas station. We'll listen to it prime one more time here. It still sounds a little odd. I don't know what that's about. I think I can feel the tank being a little bit wider on my legs, which is actually kind of nice because it was super narrow and I'm trying to ride where you lock your legs together to control the bike with your lower body. And I feel like I'm pinching my knees, you know, kind of like pigeon-toed. I'm guessing this will change the feeling of the weight distribution when riding a little bit, if it's full tank. But I don't smell any gas and I don't see any gas. There's really not much else to screw up unless I got a bunch of dirt or something in there. Let's see what the primer sounds like now. I don't know. Maybe I have video of the stock sound and I'm just being paranoid because I've screwed with it. It sounds a little different. But anyway, there you go. A few people asked for that video. I'll try and edit it down so it's not too long. Realistically, it took me a few hours, but I was dealing with recording. Fought with that little stock gasket going into the hole on the IMS tank. And that was about it. Just figuring out what goes where. It really felt pretty straightforward. I think if you watch any other IMS tank install, it's the same process for all their bikes. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll probably have a riding video later today or tomorrow to post in the next few days. Interested to see how it does. All right, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.